Chapter 1. The Mental Battlefield, Where Winners Are Forged. Produced by Art Audiobook. Before anything great can happen in the outside world, something even greater must happen in the mind. Champions aren't born, they are shaped, slowly, intentionally, in silence, in struggle, in solitude. And all of it begins with one decision: to train your mind to win in every situation. Winning doesn't always mean applause or medals or viral success. Sometimes, it means showing up when no one is watching. Sometimes, it means enduring failure without giving up. Sometimes, it's about being at peace with yourself while the world tries to break you. This is the essence of mental training, forging a mind that cannot be shaken. The first truth: your mind is a battlefield. You are not born mentally strong. No one is. Mental strength is earned through intentional repetition, emotional discipline, and ruthless self-awareness. Your mind is a battleground of two opposing forces, the force of fear and the force of focus. Fear tells you to play it safe, to avoid failure, to protect your ego. But focus tells you to move forward despite uncertainty, to lean into the challenge, to become the version of yourself that can thrive under pressure. Every day, this war is happening inside you. And every decision you make, to quit or to continue, to doubt or to believe, determines which side wins. If you do not take control of your mind, someone or something else will. Where weakness comes from. Mental weakness is not a character flaw. It's a lack of training. Most people live reactive lives. They react to stress. They react to failure. They react to other people's opinions. They wait to feel confident before they act. But the problem is, that feeling rarely comes. Action must come first. Mental strength is born when you act in spite of fear, not when you wait for fear to disappear. You've been conditioned to believe that discomfort is a bad thing, that uncertainty is dangerous, that perfection is required before progress. But none of that is true. Discomfort is your greatest teacher. Uncertainty is where growth lives. And perfection is a trap that keeps you from starting. To become mentally strong, you must break the patterns that have kept you weak. Train daily, not occasionally. Your mind doesn't improve by chance, it improves by choice. And like a muscle, it responds to consistent effort. If you wait until life tests you to train your mind, you're already too late. You must train daily. Morning routines, mental exercises, visualization, breath control, cold exposure, positive framing. These are not fads. These are tools. Real tools that reshape your brain, your habits, and ultimately your outcomes. Discipline is built with repetition, not with inspiration. You don't need to feel ready. You need to show up anyway. Every day you keep a promise to yourself, your mind becomes sharper. Every day you push through resistance, your mind becomes stronger. Every day you choose growth over comfort, you're building the mindset of a winner. Control the controllables. Here is one of the core rules of a winning mind. Focus only on what you can control. You cannot control other people. You cannot control the weather, the economy, your past, or random setbacks. But you can control your response. You can control your attitude. You can control your preparation. And those small choices, made consistently, become the edge that separates those who collapse from those who conquer. Winners do not waste energy on things outside their control. They stay rooted in the present. They act with intention. They plan for the worst, train for the best, and keep moving forward regardless of the storm. Turn pain into power. Everyone experiences pain. What separates winners is what they do with it. A weak mind runs from pain. A strong mind harnesses it. Your rejections? Use them as motivation. Your failures? Use them as blueprints. Your doubts? Use them as fuel to prove yourself wrong. Every scar you carry is a reminder that you survived something you thought would break you. And if you're still standing, you're not done. Mentally strong people do not avoid struggle. They invite it. Because they know that suffering in the right direction leads to transformation. And once you've transformed your mind, you've changed your entire life. Feed the right wolf. There's an old parable that says inside you are two wolves. One is weak, anxious, angry, reactive, lazy. The other is disciplined, focused, courageous, and relentless. Which one wins? The one you feed. Every thought you entertain, every belief you affirm, every story you repeat, is feeding one of the wolves. You must choose carefully. Are you feeding weakness, or are you feeding strength? Start by changing your self-talk. Speak to yourself with strength. You are not your failures. You are not your past. You are potential in motion. Stop saying I can't, and start saying I will. Speak the identity you want to become, not the one you fear you are. Create a personal mental protocol. Training your mind should not be left to chance. Create your own mental protocol, your personal system of resilience. Here's an example. Morning reset. Begin each day with silence, intention, breath work, or journaling. Mental priming. Visualize your ideal self acting decisively and confidently in hard situations. Reframe failure. When something goes wrong, ask, what is this teaching me? Daily challenge. Do one thing each day that makes you uncomfortable. Evening reflection. Write down one win, one lesson, and one intention for tomorrow. This is your foundation. Repeat it. Tweak it. Make it your armor. The commitment to train. Mental training is not glamorous. It's not always visible, but it's always worth it. You will lose people on this path. You will outgrow situations. You will get misunderstood. But you will also discover a power inside you that no one can take away. A mind trained to win. Understand this. Your mind is listening to everything you do. If you hit snooze, it hears that. If you break your promises, it hears that. But if you rise early, show up strong, and do the hard thing, it hears that too. And every time you choose power over comfort, your mind records that as identity. It starts now. You don't need a perfect plan to start. You just need to start. Right here. Right now. The decision to become mentally stronger is a daily choice. One that compounds with time. No more excuses. No more waiting. You are no longer a slave to your emotions, your doubts, or your circumstances. You are in training. You are in motion. And soon, you will be unstoppable. Chapter 2. Build unbreakable focus and kill distractions. Your mind is a tool, sharp when you train it, dull when you neglect it. But even a well-trained mind becomes useless if it is scattered. In this age of endless noise, mental focus is your greatest competitive advantage. It is the rare skill of the present-day warrior. The person who learns to command their attention becomes unstoppable. Most people don't fail because they lack intelligence. They fail because they lack focus. They start with fire but get pulled into distractions. Notifications, comparisons, fear of missing out. The mind, left untrained, becomes a slave to chaos. But the trained mind? The trained mind becomes a laser, cutting through the noise, eliminating the unnecessary, targeting the essential. Attention is the new currency. The world isn't competing for your money, it's competing for your attention. Every platform, every ad, every notification is designed to hijack your mind. And it's working. The average person switches tasks every few minutes, consumes hundreds of micro-influences a day, and rarely finishes what they start. Here's the truth. You don't need more time, you need more focus. When you master attention, you multiply time. 10 minutes of deep, uninterrupted focus is more powerful than hours of distracted work. Winners don't give their attention away freely. They guard it. They structure their day around it. They ruthlessly eliminate anything that doesn't align with their goals. They understand that where your focus goes, your results follow. The science of mental energy. Focus isn't just willpower. It's energy. Your brain has a limited capacity each day to make decisions and resist distractions. This is called cognitive load, and once it's depleted, your mind becomes vulnerable to temptation, procrastination, and fatigue. You must learn to protect your mental energy like your life depends on it, because your future does. Every time you say yes to something meaningless, you're saying no to something meaningful. That's why high performers have routines. Routines reduce decisions. Decisions drain energy. Fewer decisions mean more focus for the things that actually matter. So instead of chasing motivation, design your environment to demand less from your willpower. Prepare your mind like a warrior prepares for battle. with strategy, not emotion. Cut the noise, cut the weakness. Let's be real. The majority of distractions in your life are not accidental, they're addictions in disguise. You check your phone not because something important happened, but because your mind is wired for novelty. You open social media not because you're inspired, but because you're avoiding your real work. You scroll endlessly not because you're bored, but because you've trained your brain to crave stimulation. These habits don't just waste time, they erode your self-respect. Because deep down, you know you're capable of more. Every time you allow distraction to win, you reinforce the identity of someone who breaks their own promises. But when you shut out the noise and focus, truly focus, you build the identity of a finisher, a warrior, a builder, a closer. Focus is a muscle. You weren't born with a weak attention span, it was trained into you, which means it can be trained out of you. Focus is a muscle. You build it by using it. Start small. Set a timer for 25 minutes. Work on one task. No breaks. No switching. No checking. Just full immersion. When the timer ends, take a 5-minute break. Then go again. This is called the Pomodoro technique, and it rewires your brain for deep work. Don't expect instant mastery. Expect resistance. Expect boredom. Expect withdrawal. But keep going. Over time, your mind adapts. You'll get stronger. And eventually, what used to feel hard becomes effortless. That's the reward of focus. Control over your mind, control over your outcomes. The power of deep work. There are two kinds of work, shallow work and deep work. Shallow work is reactive, answering messages, managing tasks, scrolling, multitasking. It feels productive, but it rarely moves you forward. Deep work is proactive, creating, solving, building, writing, thinking strategically. It's hard. It demands full presence. But it's the work that builds empires. You must prioritize deep work above all else. Schedule it like an appointment. Defend it like a fortress. Make it sacred. When you enter the zone of deep work, time bends. Hours feel like minutes. You become absorbed in your task. And that level of focus, repeated daily, leads to mastery. This is where breakthroughs happen. Not in the noise. Not in the scroll. In the silence. In the solitude. In the zone. Eliminate to dominate. You don't need to do more. You need to do less, better. Start by eliminating. Ask yourself, what are the 3 biggest distractions in my life right now? Be honest. Then, what would my life look like if I removed them? Turn off notifications. Delete the app. Say no to the unimportant. Get off autopilot. You don't need more apps or hacks. You need fewer distractions. Distraction is the enemy of greatness. It disguises itself as entertainment, comfort, even connection, but it always costs you your edge. Dominate your environment, or your environment will dominate you. Craft a focus ritual. Discipline is built on habits. And focus is no different. Create a pre-focus ritual that signals your brain it's time to enter deep work. Example: close all unnecessary tabs and apps. Put your phone in another room. Play one specific soundtrack or ambient noise. Set a timer. Take 3 deep breaths. Begin. This ritual may take 5 minutes, but it sets the tone for the next hour. Repetition makes it automatic. Automatic habits lead to consistent performance. Winners don't hope to focus. They build systems that demand it. Morning, prime time. The first hour of your day is the most powerful, because your mind is fresh, unpolluted by external noise. Use it wisely. Do not begin your day by consuming. Don't check your phone. Don't open emails. Don't scroll. Begin your day by creating, thinking, or planning. Set one priority, the one task that, if completed, will make the rest of the day a win. Focus your first deep work block on that task. Guard that time like your future depends on it, because it does. Own your morning, and you will own your life. Mastering focus means mastering yourself. Distraction is not a technology problem. It's a self-control problem. When you say, "I can't focus," what you really mean is, "I haven't built the discipline to protect my focus." But that changes now. You are not your past habits. You are what you repeatedly do from this moment forward. If you want a powerful life, train a powerful mind. And a powerful mind is one that can hold its attention no matter what chaos surrounds it. This is your new standard. Fewer tabs. Fewer excuses. Fewer half-finished tasks. More results. More momentum. More clarity. More wins. Chapter 3. Master your emotions or be ruled by them. Emotions are powerful. They can fuel your greatest breakthroughs or sabotage your most critical moments. The difference isn't in feeling less, but in training yourself to respond more intentionally. If you want to win in every situation, you must master your emotions, not suppress them, master them. Most people are emotional slaves. One piece of bad news, one insult, one doubt, and they spiral. They make permanent decisions based on temporary feelings. Their moods become their masters, and their reactions define their fate. But the mentally trained individual? They feel everything and still choose clarity. They don't deny their emotions. They observe, understand, and then decide. That is emotional mastery, and it's one of the most underrated superpowers you can possess. Emotional intelligence is performance intelligence. You can be brilliant, skilled, motivated, but if you cannot control your emotions under pressure, you will fail when it matters most. The athlete who chokes under pressure, the entrepreneur who panics in a crisis, the leader who lashes out in anger. They all lose not because of lack of ability, but lack of composure. Emotional intelligence is not about being soft. It's about being strategic. It means knowing what you feel, understanding why, and then choosing your response instead of reacting impulsively. This is what separates the mentally elite from the mentally average. Recognize the trigger before the explosion. The first key to mastering emotions is awareness. You cannot control what you don't recognize. Most people are emotionally reactive because they live unconsciously. They don't notice the trigger, only the aftermath. They don't realize they're frustrated until they're shouting. They don't notice fear until they're frozen. They don't recognize sadness until they've already checked out. You must slow the moment down. Feel the rise. See the trigger. Name the emotion. I feel overwhelmed. I feel attacked. I feel ashamed. Naming the emotion gives you power over it. It gives you space between stimulus and response, and in that space lies your freedom. Rewire your default reactions. Your emotions are automatic because they're learned responses. But anything learned can be unlearned, and anything trained can be retrained. If your default is anger, train calm. If your default is panic, train breath. If your default is shut down, train presence. This takes time. But every moment you interrupt your usual reaction, even by 1 second, you are rewriting your emotional code. That's why mentally tough people don't react instantly. They pause. They breathe. They ground themselves. And then they act from clarity, not chaos. Never make decisions in a storm. The worst decisions are made during emotional storms. High stress, high anger, high fear, all cloud your judgment. When the emotion is high, your IQ drops. Your logic shuts down. You don't see clearly. You don't think long-term. You seek relief, not results. The rule is simple. Do not decide when you're flooded. Don't quit your job in the heat of frustration. Don't end a relationship during a moment of anger. Don't blow up your plans because of temporary fear. Let the storm pass. Breathe. Sit. Reflect. Then act. The more control you develop in emotional chaos, the more dangerous and effective you become in life. Train emotional discipline like a muscle. Like focus, emotional discipline is a trainable skill. And like any skill, it grows with reps. Here are tools to train your emotional response. Breath work slows the nervous system. Inhale 4 seconds, hold 4, exhale 6. Repeat. Journaling releases suppressed emotions and gives structure to mental chaos. Cold exposure builds stress tolerance and control under discomfort. Micro delays. When triggered, wait 5 to 10 seconds before speaking or acting. Emotional labeling. Name the feeling, then name your ideal response. Don't wait for a crisis to train. Do it daily. Every small emotional resistance is a rep, Every time you stay calm instead of exploding, that's a rep. Every moment of patience in a hard conversation, that's training. These tiny acts of mastery add up to total control under pressure. You are not your emotions. One of the most empowering truths you can internalize is this: you are not your thoughts, and you are not your emotions. You are the observer. You are the one who decides. Feeling fear doesn't make you a coward. Feeling anger doesn't make you dangerous. Feeling sadness doesn't make you broken. These are visitors, not identities. The untrained mind fuses with emotion. The trained mind watches the emotion, learns from it, and uses it. Detach from the storm. See it as movement, energy, temporary signals. Use what helps you. Release what doesn't. This is how warriors think. Channel the fire. Some emotions should not be eliminated, they should be channeled. Anger can be fuel. Turn it into focus. Frustration can be drive. Turn it into action. Fear can be a compass. Turn it into preparation. Emotion, when mastered, becomes momentum. The goal is not emotional numbness, it's emotional command. To feel everything and remain steady. To turn chaos into power. To stay calm while others break. This isn't about faking peace. It's about forging peace. Through practice. Through pain. Through presence. Respond with intention, not impulse. In every situation, you have a choice. React emotionally or respond intelligently. Be triggered or be intentional. Lose yourself or lead yourself. Leaders don't let emotion dictate their tone, their energy, or their message. Champions don't let fear rewrite their plans. Warriors don't let anger define their next move. They feel it and respond with strength. To win in life, you don't need to feel less. You need to feel clearly. You need to act from power, not panic. Composure is your superpower. The world is chaotic. People are reactive. Environments are unstable. But you train for composure. You prepare for storms. You walk into fire with clear eyes and steady breath. Because you don't fear emotions, you own them. And that kind of control, real control, changes the game. It commands respect. It inspires confidence. It gets results. Anyone can look strong when things are easy. But true strength shows when everything is falling apart, and you're still calm, still focused, still moving forward. That's who you're becoming. Chapter 4. Discipline over motivation, the real key to mental power. Most people wait for motivation to strike before they act. But winners, the ones who truly train their minds to win in every situation, don't wait. They act regardless of how they feel. Because they understand a simple truth: motivation is fleeting, but discipline is forever. Motivation is emotional. It's unreliable. It comes and goes. But discipline? Discipline is identity. It's a choice you make and a standard you keep, even when every part of you wants to quit. Motivation is a mood. Discipline is a decision. One day you feel pumped. You crush your routine. You tell yourself you've finally got it. But then comes the slump, the bad sleep, the stress, the doubt, the resistance. And suddenly, motivation is gone. But what if you didn't rely on it? What if you acted with the same fire whether you felt excited or exhausted? That's what discipline is. Doing what needs to be done whether you feel like it or not. No debates. No negotiations. Just execution. Discipline means choosing purpose over pleasure. Vision over emotion. Commitment over convenience. Your mind believes what you do, not what you say. Every action you take reinforces your identity. If you say you're focused but break your own rules, your mind sees that. If you say you're committed but keep skipping the hard parts, your mind records it. Discipline is the daily vote you cast for who you're becoming. You're not just doing the work. You're showing yourself, over and over, that you are the kind of person who follows through. That builds confidence. That builds control. That builds power. Emotion is loud. Discipline is quiet. People love big goals, big talk, public plans. But discipline doesn't care about talk. Discipline lives in silence. It's waking up early when no one is watching. It's saying no to comfort when no one will praise you for it. It's choosing the hard path again and again and again, because you said you would. Discipline is not loud. It's not flashy. It's not hype. It's solid. It's steady. It's the bricklayer, building the life you said you wanted, one painful, deliberate brick at a time. Build systems, not feelings. Stop trying to feel motivated. Build systems. Systems are what keep you consistent when emotions fail. Routines. Alarms. Checklists. Time blocks. Rules. Triggers. Habits. A system doesn't ask how you feel. It just says, do the work. You don't need to reinvent yourself every day. You need a structure that reduces friction and increases flow. Make your discipline automatic and your success inevitable. Wake up at the same time. Work at the same time. Eat with intention. Train with intensity. Reflect with honesty. Your future is hiding inside your routine. Train in the boring. Everyone wants the reward, but few want the repetition. Few are willing to embrace the boring work, the kind that feels thankless, quiet, and slow. But the boring is where greatness is built. The writer writes the same number of words every day. The athlete practices the same movements thousands of times. The leader reads, studies, plans, even when it's not exciting. The difference between average and elite is that the elite fall in love with the repetition. They train when it's raining, when they're tired, when the applause stops. Because their commitment doesn't depend on mood, it depends on who they are. Resistance is the signal. Every time you feel resistance, that desire to delay, skip, or quit, that is your signal. It's your test. And discipline is how you respond. You don't negotiate with laziness. You override it. You don't make it feel better. You move anyway. You shut down the voice that says, just 5 more minutes. You kill the thought that says, do it later. Because later becomes never. And you are not average. You are in training. You are in command. Every time you push through resistance, you reinforce your standard. You reinforce your edge. You reinforce your future. Design your non-negotiables. To develop unstoppable discipline, set non-negotiables. Fixed standards that do not change, no matter what. I train 5 days a week, no excuses. I never skip my morning routine. I write for 30 minutes a day, even if it's bad. I shut my phone off during deep work hours. These are your anchors. They define your floor, not your ceiling. When motivation disappears, these rules remain. Non-negotiables are the bones of your discipline. Without them, you will collapse under pressure. With them you rise, automatically. Show up dirty, not perfect. Discipline doesn't mean being perfect. It means showing up anyway, even when you're late, tired, stressed, or uninspired. If you can't do the full workout, do half. If you can't hit your goal, still take a step. If your routine gets messy, reset and continue. Winners don't need ideal conditions. They create momentum from imperfection. Because doing something, even poorly, is better than doing nothing while waiting for perfect. Discipline says, if I fall, I rise. If I slip, I reset. I never vanish. I never retreat. I never stop showing up. The discipline mindset. The discipline mindset is built on 4 pillars. Identity, I am someone who does hard things. Standards, I live by rules, not feelings. Repetition, my success is in my daily actions. Grit, I don't stop when it hurts, I continue until it's done. Repeat those. Ingrain them. Make them your internal operating system. That's how you become the kind of person who wins, not once, but consistently. Mastery begins when motivation ends. Most people are motivated at the start. Few are disciplined to finish. But the finishers, the relentless ones, own their future. Every time you keep going when others stop, you separate yourself. You're not average. You're not interested in being kinda good. You want to dominate your space. And domination doesn't come from inspiration. It comes from relentless execution, cold repetition, quiet strength, from getting up over and over and doing the work anyway. This is your power, discipline over everything. Chapter 5. Reprogram your beliefs and break mental limits. There is a silent force guiding everything you do. A force so subtle, most people never question it. But it defines your actions, shapes your decisions, and sets the boundaries of your potential. That force is your belief system. Your beliefs are the lens through which you see the world and yourself. And until you examine and reprogram them, they will control your outcomes without your permission. Winning in any situation doesn't start with effort. It starts with belief. If your mind doesn't believe it's possible, your body will never follow through. You are living the life you believe you deserve. Look around at your results, your habits, your standards, your income, your health, your relationships. They are all reflections of what you believe you deserve. You don't get what you want. You get what your subconscious mind believes is normal. And unless you change that default setting, you will sabotage anything that rises above it. The person who loses weight, but gains it back. The entrepreneur who builds momentum, then crashes. The leader who starts strong, but always burns out. They're not weak. They're not unlucky. Their internal blueprint doesn't match the external result, so they unconsciously destroy it. Where limiting beliefs come from. You were not born with limits. You learned them. From your parents, teachers, coach, religion, friends, trauma, failure, repetition. You absorbed their beliefs about money, worth, love, success, and pain, and you made them your own. I'm not good enough. Money is evil. I'll always struggle. People like me don't win. These are not truths. They are inherited programs, mental viruses. And if you don't rewrite them, they will run your life. Your job now is to become conscious of the unconscious programming and replace it with what serves your future. Beliefs shape behavior. If you believe something is hard, you'll avoid it. If you believe something is impossible, you'll never try. If you believe you're not enough, you'll chase validation instead of mastery. But once you change the belief, the behavior changes too. Suddenly, effort increases. Action follows. Risk feels manageable. Discipline becomes natural. That's the power of aligned belief. It pulls behavior upward without force. You don't have to fight yourself every day. You just have to believe something better and back it with action. The cycle of rewiring. Here's how belief reprogramming works. Awareness, catch the belief. Hear the voice in your head. Write it down. Question, ask, is this true? Who taught me this? What's the cost of keeping it? Replace. Create a stronger, empowering belief that matches your vision. Reinforce. Repeat it daily. Speak it. Write it. Visualize it. Act on it. Prove. Take small, repeated action to confirm the new belief. Example. Old, I'm bad at speaking. New, I'm becoming a confident communicator every time I speak. Proof. Speak in one meeting today. Record your voice. Get feedback. Belief change is not magic. It's method. You don't need years of therapy to upgrade your mind. You need consistent proof that a new story is possible. Identity is the root of belief. You can't outperform your identity. If you see yourself as weak, lazy, or broken, your actions will align. Even when you try to change, you'll self-sabotage. Because the old identity always pulls you back. But if you upgrade your identity, everything shifts. I am a focused person. I am a disciplined leader. I am a creator of value. I am resilient under pressure. Not affirmations. Declarations. Identity claims. Say them. But more importantly, prove them with action. The more your actions match your new identity, the more real it becomes. And the more unstoppable you become. Belief isn't blind, it's built. People confuse belief with blind optimism. That's not what this is. We're not talking about fantasy. We're talking about mental architecture. Constructed with repetition, shaped by decisions, built with integrity. You believe you can win because you show up like a winner. You believe you're valuable because you act with self-respect. You believe success is possible because you create progress daily. This is how belief becomes unbreakable, not through wishing but through work. Use visualization as a weapon. Your brain doesn't know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. Use that. Close your eyes. See yourself doing what you fear. Picture it in detail. Speaking on stage. Holding your ground in conflict. Dominating your fitness goals. Executing under pressure. Feel it. Smell it. Hear it. Own it. Then go do it. This primes your nervous system, trains your subconscious, and builds the belief that you've done it before, even if only in your mind. This is not some new age trick. It's neuroscience. Top performers do it every day. Now, so do you. Environment reinforces belief. Your beliefs are not only shaped by thought, but by your environment. The people around you, the places you work, the media you consume, the voices you listen to. If you surround yourself with weak minds, lazy language, and low standards, don't be surprised when your belief system shrinks. Protect your mental space like your life depends on it, because your future does. You don't need permission to believe bigger. You need a new standard, a new room, and a new voice in your head. Let that voice be yours. Build the evidence of greatness. One action, one win, one rep. That's how belief is built, not in theory, but in experience. Every time you do something hard, you prove you're strong. Every time you show up without results, you prove you're committed. Every time you act despite fear, you prove you're courageous. Stack those wins. They compound. Until one day your belief is unshakable, because your evidence is undeniable. That's how you go from I hope I can win to I know I'm built to win. Beliefs are choices. Choose power. You're not stuck. You're not limited by your past. You're not defined by who you were. You are the author, the coder, the operator of your mind. And starting today, you choose beliefs that serve you. You believe in growth, in purpose, in strength, in discipline, in your ability to adapt, overcome, and thrive in any situation. No more waiting for proof. No more asking for validation. You build the belief system of a champion, and you train it daily. Because belief isn't a feeling. It's a decision. Chapter 6. Thrive under pressure, the skill that separates the best. Pressure reveals the truth. When the stakes are high and time is short, your mind is exposed. Weak minds fold. Trained minds focus. You can spend years preparing, but in the end, it all comes down to what you do when the moment is real, when you're tired, when it matters, when the room is watching. That's where champions are born. If you want to win in every situation, you must train yourself to not only survive under pressure, but to thrive in it. Pressure doesn't build you, it reveals you. They say pressure builds character. That's only half true. Pressure reveals character. It shows what's already there. If you've trained for it, pressure activates you. It brings out your edge. You become sharper, faster, more alive. But if you haven't trained your mind, pressure will paralyze you. It will expose every insecurity you've hidden. That's why you don't train for easy days. You train for the storm, for the heat, for the spotlight. Because when the moment comes, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall to the level of your training. Most people crack before the moment even starts. It's not the pressure that breaks people, it's the anticipation of pressure. The mental movie they play in their heads. The panic. The what if. The fear of failure. The self-doubt. They talk themselves out of the win before the test even begins. But the mentally trained individual rewires the narrative. They don't say, what if I fail? They say, this is what I've trained for. They don't shrink from the moment, they rise with it. This isn't just mindset. It's mental strategy. It's emotional discipline. It's performance psychology. And you can train it, like any other skill. Control the physiology, control the mind. Under pressure, your body reacts before your thoughts do. Heart rate rises. Breath shortens. Palms sweat. Muscles tense. This is your nervous system signaling threat. But if you learn to control your physiology, you control the storm. Here's the method. Breathe slower. Inhale for 4 seconds. Exhale for 6. Repeat. Lower your shoulders. Relax the traps. Loosen your jaw. Widen your vision. Don't tunnel. Expand your field. Ground your body. Feel your feet. Root yourself. You're not calming down. You're commanding control. You're telling your mind, I'm safe. I'm strong. I'm ready. Pressure is a privilege, if you decide it is. Most people avoid pressure. They see it as something to fear, something to run from. But the top 1%? They see pressure as a signal of purpose, a sign that the moment matters, that they're in the right arena. Pressure is not punishment. It's the proving ground. It's the platform that magnifies your preparation. You don't have to love the feeling, but you must respect what it means. You've entered the space where winners are made. Rituals beat emotions. When the pressure hits, you won't have time to think clearly. That's why you need rituals, automatic actions that stabilize your performance. A pre-performance breath routine. A physical reset trigger, like clenching and releasing your fists. A mantra, I've been here before. I've got this. A focus anchor, a gesture, a word, a thought. These aren't superstitions. They are anchors. And under chaos, anchors keep you centered. Build them. Practice them. So when the lights hit, you don't freeze, you lock in. Narrow the moment. One reason pressure feels overwhelming is because people mentally zoom out. They think about everything at once. The consequences, the people watching, the potential failure. That wide perspective magnifies fear. The solution? Narrow the moment. Zoom in. Get granular. One breath. One step. One decision. One task. Shrink the moment until it's manageable. Because you don't need to win the whole battle, you just need to win the next second. This is how the mentally elite perform under fire. They stay present when others panic. Pressure will break the unprepared. You cannot fake composure. Not under real pressure. When it's go time, your preparation speaks. Did you train when no one watched? Did you build discipline when it was boring? Did you challenge yourself when it was easier to stay soft? If the answer is yes, pressure will activate your power. If the answer is no, pressure will expose the gaps. But here's the good news, it's not too late. Every rep from here forward is preparation for the pressure you haven't faced yet. Train harder now, so the future feels lighter. Visualization for pressure mastery. See the pressure before it arrives. Close your eyes. Put yourself in the moment. The game on the line. The room silent. The camera rolling. The investor staring. Feel it. Don't escape it, embrace it. Now picture yourself calm. Focused. Visualize your breath steady. Your voice strong. Your body in control. Your decision clear. Do this daily. Repetition rewires response. Your nervous system will learn, I've already been here. I already know how to win. Train with pressure in practice. Don't save pressure for game day. Create it in your training. Add time limits to your tasks. Simulate public speaking conditions. Raise your heart rate, then practice clarity. Rehearse high-stakes conversations. Make discomfort part of your practice. So when the real challenge comes, it feels like home. Pressure becomes easier when it's familiar. Introduce it now, so you dominate it later. You're built for this. Here's the truth, pressure doesn't leave. It increases. The higher you go, the more weight you carry. But pressure is not your enemy. It is your stage. It is your sharpened edge. It is the heat that forges your strongest self. If you can control your mind under pressure, you can control it anywhere. And when others crumble, hesitate, or tap out, you rise. Because you trained for this. Because you chose this. Because your mind is no longer afraid of pressure, it's activated by it. Chapter 7. Build unshakable confidence from within. Confidence is not arrogance. It's not loud. It's not about ego, approval, or external praise. Real confidence is internal certainty. It's the calm, silent conviction that you can handle whatever comes, because you've trained for it, proven it, earned it. It's not a feeling. It's a state, a decision, a weapon. And once you build confidence from the inside out, nothing, and no one, can take it away. Most people fake confidence, that's why it fails. They speak louder. They dress the part. They inflate their resume. But the moment something shakes their image, they collapse. Because it wasn't built, it was borrowed. And borrowed confidence expires the moment pressure arrives. True confidence is different. It's built on self-trust. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to perform. You just know who you are, what you're capable of, and how you'll respond. That kind of confidence doesn't waver when things go wrong. It sharpens. Confidence is self-trust built through repetition. You trust people who keep their word. The same applies to yourself. Every time you say you'll do something, and do it, you build internal trust. Every time you finish what you start, you prove you're dependable. Every time you push through fear, you become someone you can count on. Confidence is not about feeling invincible. It's about knowing that even if things fall apart, you won't. It's built rep by rep, not with perfection, but with consistency. You don't need hype. You need history, a track record of effort and execution. Kill the comparison, build the identity. Comparison is the fastest way to destroy confidence. You scroll. You compare. You shrink. Because you're measuring your raw footage against someone else's highlight reel. But confidence doesn't come from being better than others. It comes from being rooted in who you are. When you know your values, your path, your process, other people's success doesn't distract you. It inspires you. Or it becomes irrelevant. Because you're not competing for approval. You're creating a life on your terms. And that's power. Confidence doesn't mean you always win. It means you never fold. There will be setbacks, mistakes, rejections, embarrassment. That's part of growth. But when you're truly confident, you don't crumble when it gets messy. You don't quit when you fail. You keep showing up even when the results aren't instant. That's the mark of someone who wins long-term. They don't let short-term loss define their worth. Confidence is the refusal to let doubt lead. Even when doubt speaks, confidence acts. Proof over pep talks. You don't need more motivational speeches. You need more evidence. Evidence that you've overcome before. Evidence that you've done the work. Evidence that you've been here and survived. Make a list. Track your wins. Remember your breakthroughs. Study your own rise. Because confidence isn't built in your head, it's built in your history. Go back and claim the victories you forgot to celebrate. Use them. Stack them. Build your foundation. Then add to them every day. Preparation is confidence insurance. The more you prepare, the less you fear. You walk into the interview calm, because you've rehearsed 10 times. You take the stage steady, because you've trained for discomfort. You face uncertainty with courage, because you've made hard decisions before. Preparation removes hesitation. It gives you the right to trust yourself. You don't hope for confidence. You earn it through sweat, study, and sharp repetition. You don't need permission to be confident. Some people will tell you to stay humble, to not get ahead of yourself, to play it safe. Ignore them. Their limits are not yours. Their fear is not your truth. You don't need permission to believe in yourself. You don't need a certificate, a title, or approval from the crowd. You choose your confidence. And you back it with discipline. The louder the world tries to shrink you, the more you double down on your standard. That's what real power looks like. Confidence without competence is a lie. Let's be clear, confidence is not empty self-belief. It must be backed by ability. You want to feel confident? Get good. Practice until you stop flinching. Study until you stop guessing. Move until your body adapts. When you're competent, confidence becomes automatic. You're not hoping you're ready, you know you're ready. Because you've done the work, and you can prove it. Challenge builds confidence. Avoid comfort if you want confidence. Confidence isn't built in safety, it's forged in challenge. Say yes to things that scare you. Volunteer for pressure. Step into rooms where you're the underdog. Every time you do something hard, and don't die, your nervous system recalibrates. It learns, that wasn't as bad as I imagined. It rewires fear into familiarity. It transforms panic into power. The most confident people in the room? They've simply survived more storms. And they came out stronger. Confidence is a skill. Build it. Stop treating confidence like a personality trait. It's not genetic. It's trained. Like focus. Like discipline. Like strength. You build it by keeping promises to yourself. Facing discomfort with intention. Showing up daily. Letting go of comparison. Backing belief with proof. And most of all, by acting before you feel ready. Because every time you take action while scared, you prove something to yourself. That you don't need to feel confident to be powerful. You become confident by acting despite doubt. Chapter 8. Adapt fast, win always, make change your weapon. If you want to win in every situation, you must become adaptable. Not rigid, not fixed, not dependent on everything going as planned. Because life doesn't follow your script. Markets crash. Relationships shift. Plans collapse. Goals evolve. And in those moments, people break. Not because they're weak, but because they weren't built for change. The winners? They don't just survive change, they weaponize it. Rigidity is fragile. Flexibility is power. The most dangerous mindset you can have in a world that changes constantly is a rigid one. If you rely on certainty to feel in control, you'll panic the moment things shift. If you need everything to go your way, you'll break under pressure. But when you train your mind to bend, not break, you become unshakable. Being adaptable doesn't mean you lack conviction. It means your conviction is strong enough to survive transformation. You keep your goal. You change your path. The plan is nothing. The planning is everything. You'll hear people say, stick to the plan. But what if the plan is outdated? What if the environment changes? What if the goal evolves? The mentally trained mind doesn't obsess over the plan. It obsesses over the outcome. It's not married to methods. It's married to mission. If the road closes, they find another route. If the tool breaks, they build a new one. If the strategy fails, they upgrade it. Adaptability is not weakness. It's strategic evolution. Predictability is comfortable. Chaos is training. Most people seek predictability because it feels safe. But safety doesn't make you sharp. It makes you slow. It makes you soft. You don't grow in predictable environments. You grow when your back is against the wall. When you're forced to adjust. When things get messy. Chaos is uncomfortable, yes. But it's also clarifying. It shows you who you really are. What you actually believe. What you've really trained. If you want to become unstoppable, make chaos part of your training. Seek challenge. Invite curveballs. Force your brain to solve problems in real time. This is how warriors think. This is how champions prepare. Detach from the old version of you. One of the biggest barriers to adaptability is identity attachment. You've built habits, titles, roles. You've told yourself, this is who I am. But what happens when the environment demands more? Are you willing to change who you think you are to become who you must be? Are you willing to outgrow your own identity? That's the cost of evolution. The old version of you must die. The version who waited, who doubted, who needed permission. Kill that version, with action. Then replace it with someone who doesn't cling to the past. Someone who's built for the future. Speed of adjustment beats strength of plan. Success doesn't go to the person with the best plan. It goes to the one who adjusts fastest. A missed opportunity? A sudden loss? A change in rules? You must become a fast adapter, not just a deep thinker. Most people freeze in uncertainty. But you move. Even if it's messy. Even if it's imperfect. You move. You recalibrate. You shift. And you stay in the game. Because in the end, the game doesn't reward perfection. It rewards persistence and precision under change. Reframe uncertainty as opportunity. Uncertainty doesn't mean danger. It means possibility. Most people fear uncertainty because they associate it with loss. But uncertainty also brings openings. Advantages. Windows that never existed before. The key is your framing. Instead of saying, I don't know what will happen, say, I'm excited to see what I can create. Everything is changing, becomes, this is where I evolve. Nothing is going to plan, becomes, perfect. Time to test what I'm made of. When you master reframing, you master your mindset. And once your mind sees change as fuel, you become indestructible. Make adaptability a daily practice. Adaptability isn't something you wait to use. It's something you train daily. Start small. Take a different route to work. Change your routine on purpose. Say yes to something uncomfortable. Try solving a problem in a new way. These micro-adjustments keep your brain sharp. They teach your nervous system that change doesn't mean danger, it means activation. And the more you practice, the faster you evolve. Evolve or expire. In today's world, those who don't evolve will be left behind. Businesses that ignore change die. Athletes who resist new methods lose. Individuals who cling to old habits stay stuck. Evolution is not optional. It's a requirement for those who want to win, consistently, repeatedly, at every level. So ask yourself, where am I resisting change? What belief, routine, or system am I protecting that no longer serves me? What identity do I need to outgrow? The next phase. Ruthlessly, without nostalgia. Because every second you delay your evolution, you delay your destiny. You are the constant, not the conditions. Everything around you can change: your job, your environment, your team, your income. But one thing stays the same. And if you train your mind to adapt, if you become the constant in the storm, you'll never be powerless again. You won't fear volatility. You won't depend on comfort. You won't collapse when the unexpected comes. Because you don't just react, you respond. You don't just survive, you strategize. You don't just adapt, you dominate. Chapter 9. Endure more than anyone. The power of relentless perseverance. In every competition, every challenge, every dream, there comes a breaking point. The moment where the pressure spikes. Where the path gets brutal. Where most people quit. But the winners? They endure. They don't always move faster. They don't always look stronger. But they keep going when others stop. Endurance is the ultimate separator. And mental endurance, the kind that doesn't crack under pain, fatigue, or chaos, is the mark of someone who wins in every situation. The ability to continue is more powerful than the desire to start. Starting is easy. Starting is exciting. Starting gets applause. But starting means nothing if you don't finish. Most people begin with fire and fade with friction. They think it's about hype. But it's about hunger. And hunger is measured when the finish line disappears. When the path stretches. When progress slows to a crawl. That's when your training speaks. That's when your mind is tested. The strongest minds are not the ones that go the fastest. They're the ones that refuse to stop. Pain is the price, not the problem. Pain is not a sign that something's wrong. It's a signal that you're growing, that you're stretching beyond comfort, that you're crossing into territory where most people never go. The weak mind avoids pain. The trained mind understands it. It doesn't enjoy it, but it respects it. Because inside pain is proof that you're doing something hard enough to change you. If you never meet pain, you never meet growth. And if you always run from pain, you'll always live inside your limits. The rule is simple: feel the pain, but never let it choose for you. Most people quit emotionally before they quit physically. You don't quit because you're incapable. You quit because your mind says it's too much. But here's the truth: your body can endure far more than your brain tells you. You don't hit your limit. You hit your mental tolerance for discomfort. That's why the real work isn't physical. It's mental. It's emotional. It's the work of staying in the fire 1 second longer. Then another. And another. You build endurance by refusing to back down from hard moments. One more rep, one more page, one more call, one more hour of discipline. Each one compounds into strength, into grit, into domination. Emotion is temporary. Identity is permanent. The reason people quit isn't just the pain. It's that they forget who they are when it arrives. They collapse into emotion, into doubt, into fatigue. But the elite remember their identity. They say, I don't quit. I don't fold. I continue. Even if it's slow. Even if it's ugly. Even if it's silent. Because their identity is bigger than their mood. It's built on repetition, not reward. And when your identity is rooted in persistence, quitting doesn't feel like an option. It feels like betrayal. The magic happens after most people give up. What if the breakthrough is one more day away? What if your growth lives just beyond this difficult hour? What if your competition is about to quit, and all you need to do is stay in the game? This is the psychology of perseverance. Understanding that most people fail not because they're unqualified, but because they couldn't handle the silence, the boredom, the repetition, the delay. But you're different. You keep going even when the world stops clapping. Even when there's no motivation. No visible reward. No applause. You keep showing up, and that's what builds the edge. Train for the long fight. Mental endurance is not a 3-day challenge. It's a lifetime practice. And it begins with how you train. Don't look for shortcuts. Seek longer paths. Don't chase dopamine. Build discipline. Don't expect constant progress. Expect resistance. You train for a war, not a round. This means building patience, building pain tolerance, building an unshakable connection to your goal, stronger than your need for comfort. That's the mindset of someone who doesn't stop until it's done. Break the loop of restarting. How many times have you started again? Started the workout plan, the routine, the business, the habit, and then stopped. Restarting feels productive, but it's not progress. It's a loop. And every time you quit and restart, you send a message to your subconscious, I don't finish. Break that loop. Refuse to restart. Decide to continue. Even if it's messy. Even if you stumble. Even if you're crawling forward. Finish something. Then finish the next thing. And the next. Because the more you finish, the more powerful your identity becomes. You stop being someone who tries, and you become someone who wins through endurance. Long-term thinking beats short-term intensity. Anyone can be intense for a week. Anyone can work hard for a few days. But intensity without longevity is a trap. You don't need to go all in. You need to stay in. Stay in the process when it's slow. Stay in the reps when no one sees. Stay in the game when others burn out. That's how winners emerge, not through a sprint, but through sustained, focused pressure over time. Pressure that compounds. That sharpens. That separates. Make endurance your identity. You must become the kind of person who says, I don't quit when it's hard, that's when I lean in. I don't need constant reward, my reward is growth. I outlast. I outwork. I outstay. I outstand. You don't need a special talent to build mental endurance. You need a decision. A decision to show up. A decision to keep going. A decision to believe that your future is worth every ounce of difficulty you're facing right now. That's how you win, again and again, because you endure when others escape.